Please note, this episode was recorded in advance on Saturday, December 5th, 2020, prior to the developments in the Warner Media HBO Max story. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome back, guys. So, as you can see, I'm pretty sure we all love the MCU, guys. Well, we all love the MCU. I think Ben's the only one that doesn't love it.
Definitely.
Sure.
All right. And I think the MCU is obviously the biggest film series of all time now, surpassing film series like Harry Potter, James Bond, even Star Wars. And yeah, and there's 22 films. And
23.
23, one's upcoming, and we're getting a TV show next month, WandaVision. And now, since there's 7 of us, I'd like to hear you guys' favorite MCU moment. It could be from any of the 23 films. So I'm going to start with...
Yousef? Yes, what?
I was going to say, why don't you start, Joseph?
Okay. So I think mine's going to be the biggest one, the no-brainer, the portal scene. It's going to be a classic. That's a classic scene already. It's meme-worthy. I remember people cheering, especially who started off, who walked out of the portal first, the late Chadwick Boseman. Great scene.
Who else walked out of the portal first?
Oh.
I'm not saying.
Stop it. Stop
Two
it
other
now.
Oh.
Keep going.
She just got back from taking a vaccine.
Yeah. I am pretty sure everyone's theater erupted from that scene. And that's why it meant so personal to me, seeing every hero come back from the dead from Infinity War. All right, I want Yousef to go first, since he's the man.
Okay. My moment is the Mysterio moment for Far From Home.
Yes.
Oh, God damn you.
Sorry, Liam. I've already talked about the scene a lot on this podcast and how great it is, so I'm not gonna ramble, but it's just so incredible. And there's only a few moments, Joseph, that moment in Endgame, I will remember forever, because I was at the Canadian premiere. Everybody was going crazy. There was purple carpet and everything. But Far From Home, it was a smaller kind of screening that I went to, but even then, I remember everything. I remember right before, I remember during, I remember after, and I think it is because of that moment. I will always remember my reaction and how, because it's just so, especially the first time, because before advertising and stuff, I got to see it, and it was just mind-blowing, and the visual effects were incredible, and the performance from Jake Gyllenhaal and Tom Holland and Zombie Iron Man when he popped out, that blew my mind. So it's just a really, really, really good scene. Okay, that's my
We're
moment.
not getting into this discussion.
No,
No, move on. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. We need a spray bottle.
Yeah, I agree with the Yousef right there. That's a great scene. And yeah, it does get a ton of it. YouTubers like High Top Films and Brown Table express themselves that they do not like this film. I mean, sure, it's their opinion. All right.
How did The Irishman get a Best Visual Effects nomination and not Spider-Man Far From Home? That blows my mind.
The Irishman visuals effects were actual ass. They were bad.
Really?
White
men.
You know how we
doesn't
know
know how to run a campaign, so
no, they don't. But after watching *To Five Bloods*, it only makes The Irishman a little bit because you see, if you don't de-age them, you still have dramatic integrity. Anyway, I digress.
You can go next, Anthony.
Oh, okay. Well, I agree with those two moments. Love them. The portal scene is fantastic, and even though they already snapped, I mean, Hulk snapped, it still had the impact of seeing everybody. And Evans does such a great job of capturing that moment. He starts to well up because it means a lot for this guy who's always alone to have people surrounding him. That's a great moment. Of course, the Tony funeral. Spoilers, by the way. Hopefully, you've seen Avengers Endgame. That moment, because it's that felt like my childhood in one take, because I was like, I remember where I was when I saw their movie and that kid from Iron Man 3. So that was a powerful moment. Natasha's, spoiler alert, sacrifice was also a very powerful moment because that's one of my favorite characters. But I'm going to pick a more underrated moment, one that I feel like a lot of people forget because it's in probably the most underrated movie of the franchise, now that the first Avenger, Captain America, has gotten a lot of love, in the way that the prequels are now liked, like Revenge of the Sith. Avengers Age of Ultron, there's a small moment with Captain America when he's at Hawkeye's house, and he hears an echo of Peggy Carter saying, "We can go home." And he stands on the porch, he looks into the door, and then walks away from the house, knowing that in that moment, he could never go home. And I just thought that it's moments like that are throughout these movies that it's poignant, it's nuanced, it's a beautiful moment, but it grounds these characters. And I think that's why the MCU works. It's because you spend 45 minutes with Tony Stark in a cave before he puts on a suit. And it's those little moments throughout that really make an impact. So that's why, for me, when I look back at the MCU, it's a moment like that where Cap, you really get a sense of who Steve Rogers is that impacts me. So I'll go with that. But I mean, there's so many. The circle shot and the airport battle, the fight at the end of Civil War. There's a plethora of moments to pick from. But that's one that speaks to me.
Sorry, just quickly before we move on, can we just point out that as Antony mentioned Black Widow's sacrifice, he went, Natasha, and Natalia shit herself, jumped up, looked at the screen, went to get mad, and then realized he was talking about Black Widow, so looked away again.
This is true!
You thought I was talking about you?
Yes! Because Gigo called me Natasha like 4 times.
Well, I wasn't here for that. I was off making a movie, and I was being very tired.
I fully nearly wet myself. Not gonna lie.
Yes, my favorite part of the MCU is when Natalia sacrificed herself for no greater good. She just was so upset that Rebecca Ferguson has not noticed her as of this time, and just sacrificed herself.
My heart hurts.
Your heart hurts. All right, speak. Okay, let's. Natalia, why don't you go?
It's my turn. Okay. I don't know. I can't really. I'm looking at all of the movies right now, and I can't really think of one because I want something to be kind of soft and lighthearted, because it can get quite serious, and then I'd get sad. So I'm thinking probably anything with Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok, because Jeff Goldblum. That's it. Because Jeff Goldblum. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I want to hear yours, Liam.
Well, I had the Mysterio scene, but obviously someone stole it. So I would probably say anything with Hela, because Kate Blanchett.
She's so hot.
Oh,
she better be back. She better be back.
Better be. Or the scene where Hulk smashes Loki. I would say they were
in the Avengers. Okay.
Yeah, Avengers 1. I can't remember what he does, but I enjoyed it. I'm done.
Yeah, he grabs Loki and he tosses him around like a doll. And they did that same scene in Thor Ragnarok. Was like in Thor.
Oh my god, I cannot.
Yeah.
I've laughed so much. I can't remember laughing that much in a theater when Thor went up and started doing the Black Widow, sun's getting real low speech, and then just completely got railed. And then Loki screams up and goes, "That's how it feels." It was that made that movie for me.
Yeah.
I think it was George Ben, DC fan.
Yeah, I am a DC fan, but first off, Anthony's wrong. The most underrated MCU film is not Avengers: Age of Ultron. That film is horrible. It's actually Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And that is the moment that I'm picking. And it's actually, no one ever talks about this, but it's where, they're all, ego is devouring them all. The rocks are kind of surrounding them. And Fleetwood Mac's The Chain starts playing as Peter kind of breaks away from the influence of his father. And he starts to fight. He becomes like Pac-Man and things like that. And The Chain starts playing and everyone breaks free, because it goes back to the earlier part of the film where it's not actual biological family. It's the chain they have
Found
as
family.
the Guardians. I thought that was really awesome. And also, that's just an amazing song. Best song in both the soundtracks. So that is my moment. It's powerful and gives me chills every time. Makes the movie.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Now I want to hear from our guest, Matt.
Okay, so my choice is not like, okay, so I'm a dad and everything. I have 2 kids. My oldest one is my daughter. She's 4 years old. Her name is Isabel. We call her Izzy. Anyways, so my favorite scene is when hologram Tony Stark is giving his like last little speech or whatnot, and he looks, hold on, I might choke up because it makes me cry every time. When he looks directly at his daughter and he's like, I love you 3000. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, in the theater crying so hard, like ugly cry too. Like I had snot coming out my nose and like tears rolling out. I was like, oh God, and everything. My wife's like, are you okay? And I was like, she reminds me of Isabel. So that's my favorite scene of the entire MCU.
It's amazing that
it may not be like the grandest one, but it's.
Yeah, of course. It's amazing that both of the most famous lines from Avengers Endgame were added in at the last minute. Because I Am Iron Man was the last thing they shot because they could not figure out what he was going to say. And somebody just suggested it, was like, okay, we got to shoot it. And then I Love You 3000, I think, was something that RDJ told his kids. And they realized it was so wonderful. That's why you don't see him say it. Like they cut to her because he didn't say it. He just shut off the thing. They only added in I Love You 3000 later when I think they shot the other scene and was like, he just added it in because he told it to his kids. So it shows you the craziness to make a movie.
Right on. That's really cool too, because I mean, like I used to say to my kids, "I love you billions" and everything, and then he said 3000. I'm like, oh, we can never say "I love you billions" because it just sounds like we're trying to one up them and copy them. I'm like, so like.
Ben, I agree. I really love Guardians too, and I think it's underrated as well.
Yeah, but Age of Ultron is a great movie. People forget how good that movie is. It's great.
Great's a strong word.
It has an amazing villain. It has an amazing villain, but everything else is horrible.
No, it's
really boring.
Well,
really
I don't like
boring.
his end game is to destroy the Earth with a giant Earth-made meteor. Like, what is that nonsense?
I just
like
think about
it.
voice.
Think about what, because I thought it was really interesting. He's basically a baby with the knowledge that he could, he's like a baby, but he has the mind of like a 30-year-old. Like, imagine being thrust into the world with the mind to like comprehend everything that we slowly, gradually pick up on. Like, it kind of makes sense that he would be like, well, this doesn't, like, we've conditioned ourselves to be like, well, this is how the world is.
That is literally every species that isn't us, Antony.
But yes.
I just want to say real quick, on my number 2 on my list was from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when Yondu sacrifices himself. And that line where he says, he's like, he may be your father, but he's not your daddy. So yeah.
Yeah.
And the other moment when Drax is telling the story about his wife and daughter, and then Mantis feels his shoulder and then immediately starts crying. It's one of my favorite moments because it's like you see this character who's supposed to be such a joke but has such a strong core to him.
Yeah, real quick off topic. I'm sorry, just give me 30 seconds. That's why I'm for representation, because like I think I'm a perfect example, because once I became a dad, I immediately gravitated to father figures in movies and TV shows. Like as soon as they pop up, I'm like, oh, I get you. I'm gonna check this guy out and see what he's going through. So it's like that's why I'm like, you need to have like an Asian person on the screen, because some little girl who's Asian in, you know, Duluth, Minnesota, she might see an Asian woman on the screen and be like, I want to be her one day. So that's just a side.
Amen.
Preach.
There are still people that don't think that's a good thing, but you know, fuck it.
You need to have these roles, and then the studios need to support these roles. I don't think Kelly Marie Tran gets the hate if Disney comes out and supports her more instead of leaving her to like suffer all the abuse she did on Twitter. She needed.
Well, thank God for Raya and The Last Dragon for that.
Thank God. They're making up for it because they know they made a mistake. They know they shouldn't have let all those minority actors in Star Wars like suffer the abuse, and Disney just sits back and be like, okay, well, let's focus on the white characters. Let's make them the leads.
I thought Kathleen Kennedy, you know.
Well, you think they had good
No,
rules
not like
as
that.
Skywalker?
That specific, I don't think it's a Disney issue. I think it's a JJ doesn't know how to write scripts issue, or whoever wrote that script.
I agree with that. JJ doesn't know how to write scripts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's your own critical opinion. I think it's a responsibility of the studio to support their talent and support and make sure.
If their role is so minuscule that, like, what is Disney gonna do? What can
this isn't Rise of Skywalker. This is The Last Jedi. When the hate started to come out and like the Christmas of 2017, Disney should not have allowed, like, Disney should have made a bigger things, or like Lucasfilm, and so, because I guarantee this is one thing. We're going off topic really quick, but if Mark Hamill supports The Last Jedi, it does not happen. The black backlash would not have happened. It's because it was all him. And then what happened was, see, if Mark Hamill had come out and said something about, you know, this is his movie, you're not allowed to like take it out on these actors, it would have made a difference. And if the studio was more behind these actors, it would have made a difference. That's just my opinion after looking at all these movies and rewatching them this week.
Again, I don't think it's like everybody needs to like support and, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like defend their movie. It's Mark Hamill should have shut the fuck up in the beginning. Shouldn't have said anything. It's not how he's an actor. If whatever you think, you can think it. Don't care. Don't tell other people. Right. But yeah.
Well, it's because he didn't want people to come up to him and say the same thing about Luke to him, but they
wouldn't have. That's his problem. He's an actor. Yeah. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Plus, agree. You just be like, I didn't write the movie, yo. I'm just in it, yo. I get a paycheck.
And also, in Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker takes off his father's hand in a fit of rage. There was always dark side in him, and that was the other thing that was so stupid. I was like, you've built up this idea of who this character is, but it's like, were you watching the movie? Anyway, we're about to get canceled because we brought in the sequel trilogy for the second time in our season.
We're gonna get canceled for so much more than that. They're gonna look back at all of our episodes and just one by one take us all out.
The council out of context.
They will never take me out. I have said nothing.
Liam, it would be.
There would be cut it all out, Liam.
There'd be a whole video just for Liam. No, there'd be a whole video just for Liam.
All of my little fingers and all the Hollywood pies, no, Liam?
That's not going to get us cancelled.
That's the truth.
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. And remember, full episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
With new episodes Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, links in the description box.
And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay caught up to date with the Council.
Boys, I'm excited.